We are back with the Buffalonian podcast. I'm Joe Cali. As always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. Dom, unfortunately, Fridays used to be the betting on the Bills day. It's not that kind of day. It's not that kind of Friday, unfortunately. It's a Super Bowl pregame show, though. So we are at the end, the culmination of the 2023-2024 NFL season. Whew, it's been quite a ride all season, that's for sure. The ups, the downs, Ken Dorsey getting fired. The Bills are 5-5 at one point. Just can't get over the ride we went on this season. So without further ado, we got a lot to talk about. Some awards from last night. We're recording this on a Friday, of course. Some awards from last night at the NFL Honors Ceremony. Kirk Cousins, side note, off an Achilles injury, absolutely dominates the stage. It was a nice little dance up there. Did you see that?
I just have to say my favorite part about that is that Kirk Cousins hasn't said anything about his recovery.
Yeah.
And he was doing that. And Aaron Rodgers literally in an interview this week talked about, I could do about everything on a football field except running at top speed.
Mm-hmm.
This dude 3 months ago had people believing he was going to play in an actual NFL game. And he still can't even, he's just on a normal recovery.
Yeah.
He didn't find, the holy grail of Achilles.
No, he didn't play those dolphin noises into his ankle or anything like that. It
Sorry,
didn't help.
Joe. Too bad for you.
Yeah, unfortunate. For those who don't know, I finally, if you remember a couple of years ago, we were talking about a Buffalonian combine all those years ago. And, word has gotten out after an MRI. I've received what actually is going on with my ankle area. And it just so happens to be tearing in the Achilles. So yeah, we're gonna DM Aaron Rodgers, see if he can come on the show, give a couple points. No, I'm kidding. We're not. He had some. He attributed psychedelics to his back-to-back MVP. So I don't know if I want any of that medicine, but we'll have to wait and see if he publishes anything on his recovery. But anyway, let's talk about some awards from last night. Joe Flacco is an award winner. Lamar Jackson is. Let's get into those awards. Where do you want to start? What award do you want to start with?
I guess we could start with comeback because I think MVP is going to be maybe a little bit of a longer discussion.
Yes.
I just think it should have been DeMar. I think the case for DeMar is pretty easy.
I don't know. Maybe he died on a football field and came back in the same calendar year and played a game. I think that's a good enough case, don't you?
I don't know. Alex Smith won the award and he was awful the year he was not a good quarterback.
Right.
For Washington, I think that was 2020, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah.
I just does Flacco deserve to get recognition for his? He did have a comeback and all that, but he played 6 games.
Yeah, granted, he played well in those 6 games, but I don't know.
He also threw 8 picks. It's not like he was
back-to-back pick sixes in the playoffs. So
it's not like he was lighting the world on. I think that's my the most frustrating part for me is that it wasn't like he was I think he should get credit and definitely more than deserving of being a finalist. But I just think these awards sometimes just get the parameters around the award are just too hard to figure out.
There's a little bit of a blurred line sometimes.
What do you define as comeback player of the year? Does it have to be what they're coming back from, or does it have to have some performance?
Right? Is it a
DeMar
statistical award, or is it just coming back from a
sure
what DeMar came back from?
And that's why I'm even with Flacco, he was just bad. It's not like he had got injured or something. You know what I mean?
And it's not the Jets nearly killed his career. I mean, anyone coming back from the Jets mangling your career, I guess could be considered, but it's nothing compared to what Hamlin went through, and by any means, So I don't know. That it's a blurred line. Definitely a blurred line.
It's a blurred line, and it's also he didn't have a full season of work. He's come back from being bad. I just think, honest to God, to be truthfully honest, Geno Smith last year set up a bad precedent on what this award is.
Yeah.
His comeback from very similar thing to Joe Flacco. No, Geno Smith at least had a full statistical season of being a quality player. So I just think, honest to God, what they need to split this into 2 awards and do most improved and comeback player of the year. I guess if you wanted to give most improved to Joe Flacco, then sure. again, DeMar also got more first place votes. But the problem for DeMar, and this is going to be unfortunate to say, is that he was kind of boom or bust. Like, if you're going to vote for DeMar, you're going to vote him first. If you're not going to put DeMar first, you're not going to vote for him at all. Because like, why would DeMar? Oh, you know what? I think DeMar is third. Then why wouldn't you just put? You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why you didn't put him at 1 then, and it's because you don't believe that the stats have to matter. And yeah, he didn't play in 12 of the 17 games or something like that, and he had I think 3 or 4 tackles.
Yeah.
But like he was always a special teams he was always a special teams backup. But like I disagree with I view comeback as you come back. Like Alex Smith deserved it, even though he was bad, because he came back from a gruesome leg injury.
Yeah, flesh-eating bacteria. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't know he was gonna ever walk again, let alone even have a leg, and he ended up being a starting quarterback for I don't remember the time how many games he played. I think he played close to 10. So again, I just think the NFL really needs to split 2 awards and make that award more like, I don't know, what's it about?
You need to make it more about the journey someone took to get back into the league after hardship, right? Like you made it a statistical award with Geno Smith and following with Joe Flacco, like you said. Like you've set the precedent in the wrong direction. Like that's a most improved award. Those guys were written off pretty
it's
much.
always been like, if you come back, like Gronk won it because he tore his ACL, or I think he had back surgery or whatever, and then came back and had really it's always been you had something.
Tua won it with all his concussions, did he not? Or one of them. Tua won some choice for it. It was not the NFLPA.
He didn't win anything. No, but yeah. Again, Tua would have been deserved to be a finalist. Like, he came back from all his concussions, had a really good season. Like, that's kind of what I feel like comeback player of the year is for. I'm not saying Flacco isn't deserving of being a finalist, because like him coming back from being bad is something that should be that. I just don't think. Sorry, dude dying on the field, I think deserves precedent, but that's just one man's opinion. Yeah, you want to roll the MVP?
I think it's about time. I think we've been putting it off long enough. That one's pretty self-explanatory. This one, boy, oh boy, is it interesting. I think Josh Allen actually ditched the ceremony and went to play trivia for Barstool. So I think that's what ended up happening. He knew what was going to happen, just like all of us here did, but it was pretty in the face. He got 1 vote for first place MVP, 5 votes for second place, 11 votes for third place, and got 80 points. The fewest out of the finalists on the board.
It's more than half the ballot half the voters didn't have him on. I don't know. That's complete. I don't know. Are you looking at the Sporting News article?
Yes, sportingnews.com.
Yeah, I feel like it's off, because I thought someone put it like he was off of 24. I don't know. I thought it was closer than he was only on 17 ballots out of the 50, but it doesn't have to be said. Like, I just don't understand how you could have a top 5. I guess that's my frustration. My frustration isn't the fact that Lamar won, because I think both you and I had,
Yeah, we mentioned he was the MVP. We said that a couple weeks ago too, even solidified after the Bills season. We were like, Lamar's the MVP.
Listen, I'm not saying Lamar is deserving. Do I think Lamar is 49 out of 50 deserving? No. He was 1 vote away from being unanimous. The only 2 people that have done that is Tom Brady in 2010 and Lamar himself in 2019. And I think we could all agree that Lamar's first MVP was significantly, but
he took the world by storm.
Well, he had a better year. So my confusion with this is that it just became a mess. 2 things have really happened. One, media has just completely ruined the MVP, because every week it's talked about what is the MVP ladder, all this, and at the end of the season, it just becomes a massive groupthink. No one thinks outside the box themselves. They just go with the everyone's saying Lamar, so it has to be Lamar, right? I just think. I'm not saying Josh should have been one MVP. I'm not saying that. I know from a Bills perspective, I'm biased. I was pulling for him, but the fact that Dak doesn't get a vote, CMC, Tyreek. I'm not talking about Brock Purdy. I don't think Brock Purdy should have been ahead of Josh. We should have expected this, because Josh finished 4th in All Pro voting.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, no, 4th, because Purdy was 4th, and he finished 4th in this one. I've never been the biggest NFL 100 fan. I watch it, but I'd be very intrigued to see who the players vote between those 4. I think Lamar's going to be 1, just because the players.
Yeah, but you're going to sit there and say Dakota Prescott is going to be higher than Josh Allen?
So I guess this is my problem, is that I think the media has just, I guess we're part of the media, so we're kind of crapping on ourselves,
Yeah, but we're
but
not voting. Like, we're not making it
true.
like that. You know what
I
I
just
mean?
think I just think the media has ruined MVP discourse because it's overused. We talk about the MVP from well, heck, when the odds come out, whenever, like in July, we will talk about the MVP until it's said right now. So like
Yeah,
it is 6 months. We haven't even they have an NFL snap, and we're gonna be talking about who's gonna win the MVP. Like I know it's a fun topic and all. Like yeah, you should have like an off season about like what we do and do awards and all that and that
right.
jazz. But like
Yeah,
constantly talking about it, and then it's just like Lamar was never gonna lose the MVP after that San Francisco game, just because how everyone talked him. And like again, I'm not Lamar is a deserving MVP. I do, however, think he's going to be the worst statistical MVP for a considerable period of time because he
right.
was the first guy to not be in the top 10 of both passing yards or touchdowns, which is just insane. Um,
Yeah,
Again, I just my problem isn't with the fact of him winning the award. It's like it should not have been as runaway as it is, 49-50. And again, like Josh not being on like majority of ballots is ridiculous.
yeah. I again, who are we trusting with these votes that are throwing Dakota Prescott up there in second place total points wise? You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
I'm
Dak
not.
had a good statistical season, I guess, but like, I don't know.
Here's my
Like,
thing. Here's my thing. I think 4 of the 5 finalists were correct. I would have put Tyreek over Brock Purdy. Like I
yes,
just,
I agree with
and
that.
it's not
Yeah.
shots at Brock Purdy. It's more of just like if you're
No,
gonna
you
view
take
Christian
Brock
McCaffrey.
Purdy out of the system in San Francisco. Does it really change things versus if you take Tyreek out of Miami system?
Sure,
That changes a
sure,
lot. You know,
sure. And
that's kind of how I look at it.
I just think Christian McCaffrey is more valuable than Brock Purdy, and I don't
Yeah,
think you could be the most
100%.
valuable player in the league if your teammate is more. I consider so. I'm not complaining about the finalists, and I don't really care that much that Josh didn't. You know, I don't care where he finishes if he doesn't win. Right? It doesn't really matter too much to me. The only
Yeah,
thing that matters to me is the fact that like, how are we gonna sit here and say he wasn't at least top 5? Right?
right.
Like there is a like Emmanuel Acho posted his ballot, and his ballot was dog. Like his ballot was one of the worst ballots I've ever seen in my life.
Are you
Like he had like
surprised? That guy's
no, but like
takes
he
are
had
hotter
Tua
than
in
the
there. He
sun
had like
half the
Trent
time.
Williams. I'm like blanking on the other people, but it's like this guy is voting for MVP, and like this is the guy that like notably said on Twitter that he would posted a content about some random rumor that wasn't even close to, and said I just posted because it was going to be engaging. I was going to get engagement.
Yeah,
And this is the guy that we're gonna have. This is the guy we're gonna have. Vote on awards that dictate people's legacies, dictate how they're gonna get paid. Like
yes.
that's where I just like I lose it, man. Like there's so much riding on it for the players and for like people in the media that you know. Listen, do we all have our biases? Yes, but you and I both would have probably picked Lamar. Like,
I mean,
and
we
I
did.
yeah,
You could go back
we
and
did.
listen. We picked Lamar.
So
Like,
like,
we
and we would
did.
have picked Josh second, but like Josh
Yes.
is probably two because I think Dak was close. I don't know, man. It's just
But look at
I just
Allen's stats for me can do it alone. I'm going to be honest with you. Leader in touchdowns, leader in yardage. Like, that doesn't just happen without being an MVP caliber quarterback. And what you and I talked about, right? You take Allen and Lamar out of the equation for each team. You put Derek Carr in both spots. The Ravens are outdoing the Bills. So who's more valuable to their team? Josh Allen. And like we've talked about that. That was all last week. We were talking about it before this. And
again, yeah.
yeah, we knew what was going to happen.
I mean, we knew it was gonna happen. I'm not trying to reissue it. I just think like I just think so much. The thing that I get frustrated by for Josh is that like I think he gets crapped on for being the Bills' best red zone rusher.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people that were like, "Oh my god!" Like I can't remember the stat off the top of my head, but like the running backs for Baltimore had like 16 touchdowns in the red zone, or
Yeah.
something number like that, and the Bills had like 5 or 6, and we compare them. And it's like, dudes, like I'm sorry, but like Josh is just better in the red zone and running than Lamar, and like Josh on his team is the best run zone running back.
Yeah. And you can't sit there and
I should
say
say runner. Excuse me. I should say runner, not running back. I
runner.
don't want to like.
Yeah. No, you could sit there and say whatever you want, all that you would like. But the thing is, at the end of the day, when you look at Josh Allen's rushing touchdowns, right, where he tied Jalen Hurts for the record, there's a difference between a tush push and rolling out and bumbling your way into the end zone. You saw that a lot from Allen too. Like, they weren't just like gimme touchdown runs. He rolled out. He busted through the line. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I've seen that argument float around on Twitter, and it's just a little exhausting. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But
again, it's like what Stephen A was complaining about today about, like, I can't believe one voter didn't vote for Lamar. I was like, dude, he didn't have a MVP unanimous season. Like, did he have an MVP caliber season? Sure, but should have been like, and the one dude that actually voted for Josh, Aaron Shaz, I want to say his name, actually like had an article that actually defended why he voted for Josh. Like, I just believe that I truly believe that if you're gonna vote on these awards, you should have your ballot posted, and you should have to have an article defending why you chose. Like, I just think that should be. I just think that should be. That's the same thing. Well, I always believe of like Hall of Fame voting. Like the Baseball Hall of Fame got really into this about posting people's ballots. I think your ballot should be posted, and you have to defend your ballot. Like, I'm sorry, and if you can't defend your ballot, then why are you voting? Like, I'm sorry, and like, I don't know. Like, I think that has to be I just think that we have to hold the voters more accountable from that perspective of like, I think you should be. I don't want to say forced, but like, I don't know, man. Like Dan Orlovsky, he voted for Lamar. He at least has like a 2-minute clip, I think today, maybe yesterday, of defending why he voted for Lamar. Yeah, I think he had Josh 2 in his ballot. I'm pretty sure. I think he has a picture of it. Like,
yes,
but like he at least had the decency to like go on video and be like, I voted for Lamar, and the reason why is because I thought Lamar was more consistent. I think the stats. He said something about like Lamar gets underrated from the fact of like on a 5-yard pass, he may have made a play that could have lost 6 yards, but got made 5 yards. So really, he made an 11-yard play, but it's only going to go down on the scoreboard as 5 yards. Again, you can make that argument. Like,
right.
I just don't like when people just, again, also like it's just a true thing. Like, if you're gonna like say, oh, I should have been the Pro Bowl or I should have been All Pro, have the decency to say the person you like. When players complain about that, even the players, like, if you're gonna say something, like, put a name down, man. Like, don't be like, oh, don't hide behind like, oh, I should have been in the Pro Bowl, and it's like, dude, say the person you think you should be in the Pro Bowl against.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just so subjective to personal opinion. I feel like it can get. I mean, it's supposed to be though. It's a vote. At the end of the day, a vote's a vote, and that's what you're going to get. But at the same time, I agree with you. Post it and explain why the choice you made. Like that should be what happens. You know.
And like my last thing, and then we can move on to the Super Bowl. Cause I know we don't want to run super long. We want to keep it like 30, 35 minutes. My last thing about this too is that there are stats to show, you know, how does turnovers affect the game or whatever. And I'm not saying Josh's turnovers didn't affect some games. Like that Jets game, totally lost because of Josh. Like, he'll own it. Broncos game, probably lost because of Josh. But he left 4 times with the lead and lost 4 games. And like Lamar gets credit for the fact that the Ravens forced 4 turnovers on the Niners on Monday night. And like Lamar gets credit for the fact that they got a punt return touchdown in overtime to beat the Rams. Like, this is what I don't like, is that it's very like, who is the best player on the best team?
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's not like, I don't know. I just think it's ludicrous, is my opinion. Of some again, I would have voted for Lamar. I'm not trashing Lamar, but like, I just think you could easily make cases for other guys, and I think you should be able to at least be able to defend them without doing like, oh, you know, he had more touchdowns because they used him more. I was like, why do you think they used him more? And was his turnovers really that detrimental? Like, I don't know.
I'm gonna.
And the media. My last thing is, sorry to cut you off. The media also plays such a big role in this, in the fact of they dunked on him for those turnovers early in the season.
They did
so much. They dunked on him so much, blamed him for everything that was going wrong, and it gets to everyone. Like, people watch that stuff and then they just believe it. It's like,
and then you have the mindless people on Twitter just start going at, you know what I mean? Like, people do believe it. You're absolutely right.
And it's not like, oh wow, that one went through Gabe Davis's hands. That one, you know, can we give some credit to the defense on a couple of them? You know, some of them were just deep shots where maybe, you know, 3rd and long, giving your guy a chance. Unfortunately, his guys didn't come down with it. And can we also just be like, yeah, this is also a team that had their defense lose key contributors and like had to take like a month to figure out how they are going to become doable again. And that's again, that's my frustration is that like the media just plays such a big. Obviously they vote for it, but they just play such a big role in providing narratives that aren't necessarily the fullest, like, or just someone's point, like a specific person's point of view. That's not maybe the full picture.
Yeah. And one more point before we move on to the Super Bowl. I just have a question for you. Okay. Do you know how many turnovers Josh Allen has in 6 seasons, including the playoffs? I could save you the time if you want, if you don't know.
I'm gonna say 80.
He's got 78. You're hovering right around there. You're close. You're really close. Manning had 110. Marino had 103. Elway had 96. Favre had 93. Breeze had 82. The GOAT, Tom Brady, had 78. So through the first 6 seasons, and including the playoffs, Allen and Tom Brady have the same number of interceptions.
Oh,
now,
and my
I'm
last...
not saying... No, sorry, what was that?
No, I was just to your point too, because I think you made a good point about including the playoffs. I think bringing up Lamar's playoff thing is kind of weak when it comes to the MVP. I'm not saying, but like,
I'm not saying we should justify throwing in a triple coverage like he did, but yeah, I just don't. That's not it's a regular season award. It's not to do with the postseason. That's just what it is.
No, do I think it's a little weak? Absolutely. I will say this though, Ravens fans come back to that Josh beat like Phillip Rivers or whatever is so stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is the lamest comeback ever. I'm sorry, you don't play the quarterback. Like, again, this is a thing that the media has narrated. I'm not saying we don't play a part of it when like Josh plays Mahomes, but it's like they don't play each other, dude. They play the opposing defenses. Like,
yeah, no, they're not on the field at the same time. It is the opposing defenses that you're going against, and it's so frustrating because they're like, "Oh, Allen v. Mahomes." Yeah, sure. I guess if you think about it, their teams are going up against each other. That's the most similar you're going to get. That's the biggest head-to-head.
Josh had a perfect game against the number one defense because the Patriots had the number one defense. Like, is it Josh's fault that it's Josh's fault that he has like 27 touchdowns, 4 picks, and 100 passer rating, and he just happened to win against these guys? And yeah, okay. Did he have he had one bad performance against Mahomes and one bad performance against Burrow. And he was a first timer when he played Watson. The other 2 times he played Mahomes, he was right there with him. Like, we go to the Super Bowl, but
let's get out of here. We're gonna get fuming.
I just hate that. Listen, if you don't want Lamar's playoff record to get talked to in debates, please stop bringing up the quarterbacks that Josh Allen's beaten in the playoffs, because that narrative is just, it's a waste of time.
Who he's beaten in the playoffs? Lamar Jackson. So I don't want to hear it. Like, seriously.
And then somehow people don't. I'll stop after this for sure. I promise. But the Ravens fans were also like, "Oh, he beat Tyler Huntley." I was like, "Bro, Tyler Huntley played for a quarter." The Ravens, I'm 95% sure. I could look back in the game log in 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure that they were losing by 14, and when Lamar got concussed, they were punting on the last play of the third quarter. So
they were in their own end zone, if I remember correctly, when that happened. So
get out of here. I'm sorry, get out of here with that. Like, that is just so weak.
Yeah.
That's your comeback. That's your comeback.
Listen, Lamar winning MVP is their Super Bowl. We can't hold it against them, all right? They're not going to get any further than that. So anyway, moving on to the Super Bowl, funnily enough. The San Francisco 49ers are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, the Kansas City repeat from last season we did. It was the Kelsey brothers dueling it out in the Super Bowl, and now we don't know if Taylor Swift's even going to be there, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. Dom, what's the line for this game? Do you know?
Niners -2.
Okay. Are you surprised by that?
No.
I'm not either.
I mean, the Chiefs were underdogs against the Bills, underdogs against the Ravens. I guess it figures that they would be also underdogs on a neutral field against the defending champs. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry, against the Niners, excuse me. But the Niners have been a good team all year, so.
Yeah, they have. I mean, looking at this game, I'm not rooting.
I just want to say I apologize. I was wrong. Lamar got injured after a second attempt play, so it was 3rd and 33. Tyler Huntley came to the game 3rd and 33 at the Baltimore 2, down 17-3, first play of the fourth quarter. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't want to get into it. But
I was right. They were backed up into their own end zone. So that works. That works. Okay, perfect. Thank you for clarifying.
You're
Baltimore
welcome.
Ravens fans, let us know what you think if you have any rebuttal to that, I don't know, because your quarterback also threw a pick six, which put you in that 99-yard pick six, which put you in that situation. But anyway,
101. Come on now. Give those extra
101,
2 yards.
101.
But, no, I'm
Anyway,
excited. I'm excited for the game. Again, I think this is a good Super Bowl matchup. Like, I think is it a little like I don't want to say basic, but like kind of expected. So maybe it's not. It's weird. Like, it hasn't quite gotten the feel of like the Super Bowl because like it's kind of the two teams who I'm not like this. The Chiefs were put out even by us at some points. So, but like once the playoffs hit, like you taking anyone other than Mahomes, and then the Niners against NFC was kind of like, especially when Dallas flamed out, like
yeah,
there were everyone kind of thought that was a one team. You know, the Niners were head and shoulders above everyone in the NFC. So it wasn't. I don't know. It's not really a surprise. So I don't know how I feel about it compared to last year's Super Bowl. Like I think last year's Super Bowl had a little bit more, especially because Mahomes is the MVP and
yeah.
um,
It had a little more pizzazz to it. Like there was higher stakes. It felt like this season it's the juggernaut of the NFC and the resurgence of the juggernaut of the AFC, pretty much, because
the dynasty.
Yeah, they were looking like dog water for the most of the middle season. So, I mean, at this point, I guess who's your rooting interest with, if I may ask? I don't know. Who are you rooting for, if you are rooting for anyone?
Yeah, thank you for asking.
I just don't know. Like I'm biased. My family I have family in San Francisco, so I am rooting for the Niners. Okay. And that's it. Like, I don't want to see the Chiefs win another Super Bowl. I really don't, because the narrative of the offseason will be woven in the walls as soon as they win another one, where
sure, you can never count them out. Like,
yeah.
It's gonna be like the
NBA. Never a doubt will just be hammered right into our heads the entire offseason. I'd love to see him drop it. That's kind of where I'm at.
Honestly, I'm as neutral as it is. I mean, it's kind of a little bit. Actually, no, I wanted the Rams to win, so that's wrong. That's a great question. I'm like really stumped. I'm gonna say I
would
would
have to have a rooting interest. If you're just gonna watch it as a football fan, watch it as a football fan. You don't.
I don't really like the Niners that much. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I think they're a little bit some cocky son of a guns. Like I like George Kittle, but like
yeah,
I don't know. I think a couple of those guys talk a little bit for never have won anything. I know they've gone to the Super Bowl, but I don't know. I've also like I'm not the biggest Shanahan fan. Like I just think he comes off as kind of I'm smarter than again. I never liked how he's handled the whole 28-3 meltdown when he was the offensive coordinator for Atlanta. Like him kind of like not taking responsibility. The fact that like he just kind of like didn't play. I don't know. I just thought what he did was stupid in that Super Bowl, and he's just never owned up to that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Chiefs, and I also think it's weird. I kind of started to like Tom Brady ever since he's retired. Ever since he's got a Tampa,
since he stopped terrorizing the city of Western New York in Buffalo, not in the dynasty, not at the dynasty anymore, for 20 years of just pummeling the Bills. He kind of is a likable dude, I guess. But he's the GOAT,
So I don't mind Mahomes. I think his family is really annoying. But yeah, I think I like Mahomes. I don't mind Travis Kelce. I like Christian. I actually like Kansas City, and also I don't know. I'm always been in the mindset like the Chiefs winning just makes me feel better about them beating the Bills, because at least they won the Super Bowl. So it's not like we can hold on to that like.
The team that got us is the team that went all the way.
Yeah,
like
we went
toe to toe with them. Yeah,
we had them the 2-minute warning driving down 3. Like we could have beat them. Like that could be us. Like I don't know.
I've run that scenario through my head about 80 times over the past.
I shouldn't buy into that crap, but I do. So I think I'm rooting for the Chiefs. But again, I'm as neutral as they come. I also I don't know how I feel about Purdy getting one. Like I don't really mind Brock Purdy. I just think
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of like the story. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I like the story too, but like
Mr. Irrelevant.
For a reason, it's like, oh, he's the MVP or whatever. And then people crap on him, and then people go, oh, come on, he's only like in year 2. I'm like, I'm not saying it's his fault that we're crapping on him. It's the media is like propped out to be like Jesus, and he's just not. You know what I mean? He's like Peter.
I'm a little tired of the slander.
It's still great, but like.
Yeah, I'm a little tired of the Brock Purdy slander. At the end of the day, there's a lot, and then there's a lot of like just glazing Brock Purdy, right? So
he's
there's
there's no
quarterback.
To be honest, like he's probably 10.
No, he said it himself. When he asked about a fantasy team, he said, I want all my skill position guys, then I'll put Josh Allen as quarterback. He said it
Yeah, but
himself.
I think he meant legitimately fantasy football. I don't think he meant like
The writing's on the walls with that comment.
I'm not saying you're not wrong, but I don't think he meant like building a team. But again, I don't mind Purdy. He just seems like a likable dude, and it's a fantastic story. But like, I don't know. There's
Do you
just
think
so
we'll get
many
a feature film like Kurt Warner's?
I'm
We'll
sorry.
get Mr. Irrelevant if he wins the Super
Oh,
Bowl.
for
You think
sure.
that
It's
happens? Yeah.
gonna bomb in the box office too.
NFL Films, yeah.
The
He's
problem
only a
too.
system film. Only a system film.
The problem too. Maybe this is then it's gonna be a good thing. I don't know. Is that like every time I think of Purdy, I think of Tua, being like kind of like he's a good quarterback, borderline elite. Maybe doesn't have. I mean, Purdy has a little bit more, but like maybe doesn't have like quite the physical skill set of the elite guys. But he's in such a great situation. But he makes the most out of that situation. So can you really tarnish him for being in the situation? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. And then I guess maybe that's a good thing because if Purdy wins, then people are gonna think you could win with Tua, and then they're gonna pay Tua $50 million. So
yeah, Tua might get the bag. Who knows?
But who do you think is gonna win the MVP of the Super Bowl? Mahomes, I believe, has won it both.
CMC.
I forgot you rooted for the Niners. I was like, what? I was like,
See,
I think if the small quick breakdown, I'd really like this Chiefs defense. But we saw that they got ran on like by the Bills by a lot.
Yeah,
For reason, the Ravens decided, you know what, that worked. You know what we're gonna do? The complete opposite of that.
Yes, we're gonna throw in a triple coverage. We're gonna do everything the opposite.
But I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't think this Niners defense is really good. Like, I don't think this Niners defense is good. Like, they've been
not as good as they've been. Not as good as they've been.
There's been some stat floating around that Purdy like has a 23% negative grade rate like on play, so like he's kind of like lucked out a little bit. And I don't know. I feel like the Chiefs just kind of have like that clutch gene, that aura about them that like they'll come through. Like you just have the feeling that they're always going to come through. And let's be honest, the Niners completely choked Super Bowl away with them the first time around. I think that psychologically does play a little bit of a factor. So I think the Chiefs are going to win. I think MVP.
Should we do?
I mean,
MVP
it's hard not to give it to Mahomes
because it's going to be broadcast on Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's hard not to give to Mahomes because I think Bolton had a rushing touchdown last year. Mahomes didn't even. I'm sorry, rushing touchdown. Excuse me. Apologies. Defensive touchdown, and he didn't win. And Mahomes kind of had like a good day, but not a great. Like he was elite.
Well, he still was dealing with his high
like
ankle
Lamar.
sprain.
He had an elite game, but like his stats, like I think he threw for like 214 or something. Like it wasn't like he threw for. But no, I think Mahomes has a big day. I'm all about the Chiefs. I have them winning. The over-under is 48. I think this is a 24-20 type game. I think this is going to be under. I think the Chiefs just kind of move the ball. I think they play ball control a little bit, and I think this Chiefs defense is. I just think it's really good. I think it's the best unit. I think you can make a case between the Niners. Out of the 4 units, I just think the Niners defense is significantly the worst out of the 4, and then it's probably the Chiefs offense, and then both the defense of the Chiefs versus the offense of the Niners, I think, cancel themselves out. Yeah. I just trust Lamar. I'm sorry, God, I don't trust Lamar in the playoffs. Excuse
me. You should not trust Lamar Jackson in the playoffs.
I just trust Reed and Mahomes to figure it out offensively, and Spags I think is a fantastic defensive play caller. I think he'll have Purdy will throw you a couple, and I think the Chiefs are clutch, and they'll come up with it, and they won.
Yeah. As much as I agree with you, I do. I have the rooting interest just from family ties and things along those lines, and I kind of don't want Mahomes to win another one, so I'm going to root in the other direction.
And there's a very easy way for the Niners to win, which is just ground and pound.
Yes, and they have the best running back to do that with, in my opinion. So I think there's a clear route to victory in a way.
But
it's going to be what?
But the defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, said that a big reason for their success against the Niners was they had very good interior defensive tackle pressure, so Purdy cannot step into his throws. Who does the Chiefs have?
Chris Jones. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oof. It's going to be a good game. I think it'll be very close, very low scoring. Maybe not low scoring, but very close, I would say.
Can I guess your score? Your score? 21-14.
No. That's my favorite score to pick, my favorite score line. I would probably say 24 21. I think it's within a field goal. I think it's close
Yeah.
down to the
So I
wire.
got 24-20 Chiefs. You got 24-21 Niners.
Oh, I
All I'm
forgot you
saying,
even did that. I guess it's like right on the money then. I
yeah,
guess we're
all I'm
close.
saying,
Yeah,
not trying to talk trash to you, but I did pick the winner right last year, and you didn't. You
you
picked
did.
the Eagles. I picked the Chiefs. I
Did I
will say
pick
this
the
though.
Eagles? Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
did
think
pick the Eagles.
I
Yeah.
was saying being a neutral observer is fantastic because then I could just kind of root for my square numbers.
Yes. Yeah, that does help. That does help. Super Bowl squares. I have a few with you and then a few elsewhere I got to pay attention to. So, gonna have to wait and see on that one, but I think that wraps it up. Any last words for the NFL season before we say sayonara here until Tuesday or Wednesday?
I'm just hoping for a good game. Don't be a
Yes.
blowout.
And let's not let the referees decide the winner this time around. Let them
Yeah.
play. Let them play. All right.
Let 'em
Without
play.
further ado, that's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalonian podcast Super Bowl pregame show. It's the second one we've done. This is wild. I'm Joe Kelly. As always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, how do we always end these, buddy?
Let's get the Bills in this one next year, next preview next year, third year. But go Bills, baby.
Go Bills. Betting on the Bills is going to go all the way through the next season. I'm telling you right now,
Yep.
you heard it here first.